Thank you for listening to SPN, the Savage Podcasting Network.
You're listening to The Stephen Savage Show on the Savage Podcasting Network. And now, here's your host, film and television director, Stephen Savage.
Thank you, Nicole. How you doing, everyone? Savage here with you for yet another episode of The Stephen Savage Show, the official podcast of the Idlewild International Festival of Cinema, coming to you as usual from Cranium Wheel Studios at Chateau Esteban in the beautiful alpine village of Idlewild, California. We're just a couple hours east of Los Angeles, but I like to say a world away at nearly 6,000 feet high atop majestic Mount San Jacinto and overlooking the great Coachella Valley. And just to reiterate, as to people are direct messaging us, asking us who's going to be coming on soon, you can look forward to hearing on the podcast in the coming weeks. Oscar and Golden Globe nominated actress Ann Archer is going to be returning to the show to talk more about her career and her job as head of the Idlewild Cinema Fest Grand Jury since 2017, and we're really proud to have her. My great friend Irene Bedard, the voice and model of the classic Disney character Pocahontas, will be in here to speak about her great career, including her new Netflix series American Primeval, among other things. And so that should be fun. And my great friend of 20 years, Oscar and BAFTA winning screenwriter and producer Leslie Patterson, will be around to tell us what she's got going on next after her major success with the Netflix blockbuster All Quiet on the Western Front. And I'm going to do my best to squeeze all of that in before I put the podcast to bed for a few months as I head off to shoot my newest feature film, Monkey Grip. So stay tuned, as they used to say in TV and radio, for all that good stuff. And before I introduce our Zoom guest for today, let's take a moment to give a shout out to our local Idlewild sponsors who display such strong support for the Idlewild Film Festival each and every year. As you know, the Idlewild Festival is not corporate sponsored in any way, but completely independent in both content and execution, and we're happy to be talking about our main lodging sponsor, the Talk Eats Pines Retreat, a huge, amazing facility for weekend stays, romantic getaways, conferences, weddings, family reunions, and just about any gathering you can think of, both large and small. Faro Restaurant, the best Italian food in Idlewild and anywhere else on the planet for that matter, with your hosts Frank and Lori Faro, who've been festival sponsors from year one. Faro, it's Italian elevated. And to our home base, the Rustic Theater, our theater home since the festival's first season 17 years ago, where owners Gail and Graham Sutherland offer up first-run Hollywood movies, independent films, live music events, and so much more. The Rustic Theater, Idlewild, California. And last but not least, La Casita Restaurant, simply the best Mexican food around. La Casita, an Idlewild Film Festival favorite. Okay, let's get the show on the road. Speaking of the upcoming Monkey Grip production, this young lady is one of the two female leads in the film. She's an actress and internet influencer, a movie reaction star, and I feel Australia's greatest gift to the States since the Mad Max franchise. But she's been in the U.S. so long now, she's actually just an all-American girl, to be honest. She's bi-coastal, meaning she has digs and works in both New York and Los Angeles. She's an independent film actress and podcast favorite, setting herself up to be a major Hollywood icon in the very near future, and her YouTube channel program, The Coby Show, as well as her sometimes stints on the Popcorn Roulette channel, has made her a true internet star, and that's not just my opinion. Everybody thinks that, and I'm excited that she's come on board to play the role of Kelly Fox in Monkey Grip. In fact, I sort of stumbled upon this woman when I became a fan of her movie review stuff on Popcorn Roulette, and I remember saying to myself, man, I'd really like to do a film with her. And then the opportunity reared its head, and so here we are. So allow me to welcome to the podcast, zooming in from her East Coast home in New York City, ladies and gentlemen, Coby Connell. Coby, how are you, and how's Cash doing? Cash is Coby's dog, and he's something of an internet star in his own right.
And he's never more than, 2 inches away. He's on my lap. He's ready for his podcast interview. He's right here. So hi from both of us. That was such an introduction. Thank you, Stephen.
I knew he'd be close. He never misses the opportunity for an interview, that's for sure, or a photo op.
Absolutely. I know. I've trained him well.
I think it seems like it's been a couple months now since we spent a day at Disney Studios talking about our second film production you and I will be doing. That'll be next year, which we have to kind of keep under our hats for now. But that was a good day with a few Disney execs and our own producers. Great. And then drove you back to Santa Monica, where we sat in traffic and had a chance to get in a long talk about movies and everything else. So I guess it hasn't been all that long since I saw you in person. And we text and talk on the phone quite a bit. So I guess it shouldn't seem all that long ago when we were together.
No, and I also have no concept of time in general. You know what I mean? So I'll say to people, the other day, and someone will go, that was last year. And I'm like, okay, but you know what I mean? Like there's sort of, I think just being a creative of sorts adds to that. And also being, traveling a lot. I sort of have, it's an occupational hazard, but I'm never really sure how long something's been. So thank you for explaining that was a few months ago, because had you just asked me, no idea.
That's funny. Either way, I'm excited to get you back to California and then to Arizona to start filming Monkey Grip. I mentioned your career journey beginning in Australia, and then you're coming to the U.S. Well, it's been quite a while now, but let's start off by having you fill my listeners in on your childhood education and then your career beginnings, leading up to your ending up full-time in the States, and now you and I getting to work together.
Yeah, well, I mean, first of all, I'm so excited to come back to California and do Monkey Grip. It's going to be an absolute blast. And I love the heat. So I am so excited to be running around the desert and making something so cool.
That makes one of us.
Yeah. Well, you're just used to it. For me, it's all a novelty.
Right,
to be a different place all the time. But yeah, I grew up in Australia. Yes, I can do an Australian accent. People are always like, you don't sound Australian. And look, I'll do it. I can do it right now. So I can totally tap in and sound Australian, obviously, right? Yep. But it's harder. So yeah, for some reason, it's been 10 years of being in America. I guess I had to learn how to have like a, mid-Atlantic, they call it, just what accent for work. And then it just became normal practice. But when I do go home, then I sound Australian if I can hear an Australian. So I have no identity. It's like that Mulholland Drive. She's like, I don't know who I am.
Yeah, you've actually got that Southern California thing that I have, being born and raised in SoCal. We don't have an accent.
Yeah, well, you do to other parts of the world. Nobody has an accent to themselves.
Right. I thought what was funny is when I lived in the UK for a few years, I would go to pubs and everyone would say, "Are you Australian?" And I go, "Okay, you guys are way off." It was weird.
That reminds me, one of my very first auditions when I came to LA. You asked me about the beginning. I grew up in Australia, in Sydney, which I adore. Sydney is a beautiful, beautiful place. And if anybody listening has been there, you'd agree. And if you haven't, put it on the list. But it is it's a slice of paradise. And it's very fortunate that I got to grow up there. But then 10 years ago when I came here, it was still very much the place to be, for the film industry. Now I feel like post-pandemic and stuff, everybody has that argument of like, it's all remote, you can be anywhere. But it's still very much the hub of filmmaking, and so 12 years ago now, I came out here. But because English is a language, but England is a country, we say English accents are British accents. And so I went to this audition early on. This is like my first year, and I did the scene. I think I did it in an Australian accent, and she said, "Can you do it in an English accent?" Meaning what you guys call an English accent is an American accent because you speak English. That's what the woman meant.
Right.
And so I said, of course. And I did the whole scene in a British accent. And she's like, what was that? And I was like, I thought you wanted an English accent. She's like, we do, just like a normal. I was like, oh, okay, let's go again.
Yeah.
Every small town has that one special spot, a place where strangers become friends and friends share great times together. Idlewild, California has just that spot, Terrence Place Pub and Gallery, where live music and good company create amazing memories. We feature fine wines along with international and domestic tap beers. Our vibe is welcoming, fun, and eclectic. Terrence Place Pub and Gallery is proud to be an official sponsor of the Idlewild International Festival of Cinema. Come and experience the alpine charm of Terrence Place, located in the Village Lane in downtown Idlewild, California. We invite you to stop by and have a great time.
Idlewild isn't just a scenic mountain town, it's a living gallery. The Art Alliance of Idlewild supports local artists, funds youth art programs, and hosts world-class events that turn our town into an art lover's destination. Become a member, attend an event, or donate to support the arts. Follow us on Instagram at Art Alliance of Idlewild, or visit artinidlewild.org and be part of our creative community.
Let's go again.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. What about your family back there and your schooling and everything back in Australia?
I went to a school in Bronte Beach called St. Catherine's. It's the oldest girls' school in the country, apparently. And I went to, I did some acting school over there. My school was the reason I picked the high school I went to is because it was predominantly, it focused on theater so much and the arts. So I had gotten into this selective school, which my dad was very pleased about because I think it was free. You do the test. A couple of people from my elementary school got in, and I got in. And he was very excited. But I was like, no, I want to go to the school that focuses on drama. We had this Australian actress, Dame Joan Sutherland, and she had gone there. And so they had just rebuilt this huge theater and video editing suite and all this. It was for a high school. The drama department was really next level. So I had to go there. I had to, pitch that school, sell it, and I got to go there. So
that's cool. And then the trip to the US, going from there to here. You did some films in Australia, am I right?
Yeah, I did. And I did some films and I did a TV show there we had called Packed to the Rafters, which was a big show that Australia had. And then some things happened in my personal life that changed. I was getting married and then I wasn't. And so it became this sort of catalyst and the impetus to finally go, you know what? I have no, ties right now. And so I sold my place in Sydney and I got on a plane and I moved to LA and I knew nobody really, you know? So, and that feels like a lifetime ago.
Well, LA will age you quick.
Right. And everyone was like, but you meet, when I first got there was like this whole, Aussie contingency that's like all of the Australians together.
Right. Yeah.
And so for a minute, that was nice to have a little bit of familiarity, but I don't think that I sort of, then embraced that as much. I sort of found then I started like theater school, drama school. I went to Stella Adler there for a while and I had gone to practical aesthetics, like the Atlantic. So I had done all of this training and meeting new people and a lot of them were Americans. And so then my group sort of just, mixed, but I feel like a lot of Australians stay in that little Australian hub sometimes, which is awesome as well. It's nice to have that.
Yeah, I know a lot of Russian people in the entertainment industry, and they do the same thing. They venture out. They have friends in the real world, but they also tend to stick to what's comfortable. So it's understandable for sure.
I totally understand that, and I think that that's nice. And it's there's a nice familiarity. I think that I've just never done that my whole life. So even with school, there's not, sometimes I'll see on Facebook, somebody has a birthday party and they turn 40 and it's everybody from school. And I was like, oh, that's so interesting. Whereas I feel like I have all these different, eclectic, random people that I've met.
Right.
So my birthday parties are a little harder for people to nobody knows anybody.
Right. Yeah. I'll ask you about New York in a bit, but right now let's stick to LA. And what was your first sort of bigger project when you got to the LA area? You just finished shooting a feature here, right?
I did.
Yeah.
So I just finished a film called Night Driver. And now at least the press release is out. So I was like, oh, if this was a week ago, I didn't even know what I could talk about.
Right.
But it's me, it's Jolie Fisher, who I know and who I adore. She's my friend's mom, and she's great, and a wonderful actress. And Armie Hammer, who is sort of not been in stuff for a minute. So
Hmm.
it was him. It's a few people, and it was a lot of fun. It's got like a John Belvacqua is a writer director,
Hmm.
and it's a very my kind of vibe. That neo noir kind of Nicholas Winding Refn thing.
Hmm. Yeah. You know what I like about you well, not the most, but one of the things I really
Tell
admire
me.
about you is your love and knowledge of film and film history and that the art form. You're just you love to learn more. And when I was working at Paramount, the staff writers room was full of people who I worked with who didn't have a clue. There were a few who did, but
Right.
we were moved from building 25 over to the Valentino house, which is a house that's actually been there since even before the studio was there, and they just built around it, and they turned it into a writer's room, and my group got to go over there, and that was our office. And I was so thrilled because that was Francis Coppola's office when he was doing both Godfathers and The Conversation and all this stuff. And I was just going, can you believe we're here in Coppola's office working on like Yellowstone? And everybody,
It's so crazy, all that history. And when you are, because you're the same as me, when you are that film buff and passionate about it, it's exciting. And
but
there's a
everybody
bit
looks at you like a deer in the headlights. And I'm going, how can you, like Tarantino said, how can you be a successful filmmaker if you don't know who to steal from?
right. Yeah, exactly.
I think that's funny.
Exactly.
And when I was a musician, my band had a recording deal with A&M Records, and they were at the old La Brea studio. Had been Charlie Chaplin, and just it had been this big studio back in the silent era. And that's all I did when I wasn't in recording. I'd be walking around the grounds just going, oh yeah, I had this big coffee table book of the studio, and I'm looking, yeah, there's Chaplin standing there talking to Albert Einstein, stuff like that. And so I've always appreciated that about you. You just have a real sense of the history of the art.
Thank you. I mean, I am definitely passionate about, film and music, and I just bought myself a really big new Bob Dylan coffee table book.
Oh, that's good.
But yeah, no, it's fun to sort of learn all of that and see all of that history, and that's what was sort of the coolest part about my very my very first job when I came to LA.
Hmm.
I was tell me if I've told you this, but I was a tour guide at Universal
I
Studios.
did hear that. I don't know if I heard it from you, but I did know that. That's cool.
And so a similar thing, like I held, Dino De Laurentiis's Oscar from because his office was
Right.
down there and all of these things. And that was just so much fun and so much of that big, extra education on top of things that I'd already learned in my own life and watching experience. That was like a very interesting crash course in a whole bunch of other fun facts and movie information.
Hmm.
They throw at you in like a binder that's a foot deep, and they're like, learn this by heart.
Yeah, but even when I watch your reaction shows on YouTube, you're watching films, you're reacting, and I see the frustration when you'll see, I don't know who that actor is. Oh crap, who? And you dig in right away. You're interested, and I haven't had time to do it in the last few years, but I used to do a lecture series where I'd go, I've done it in all over the States and in Europe, and where I'd go to film schools and writers groups, and I would talk about films, and I would have to really learn the film because most of what I was lecturing about there was nobody left alive who had worked on those movies. So you had
Right,
to read a
yeah.
lot of books. You couldn't just make a phone call to the second AC who was on Casablanca. That guy's
Of
been dead
course.
40
Yeah,
years.
yeah,
But
yeah.
anyway, and I watch you when let's just take Casablanca as a or any movie that you watch, you really dig into to things that you don't know. So you're also a film student, as I am, just
Yeah.
always learning. I appreciate that.
But I also, it's funny you say that with the reactions because, I've enjoyed doing it. It was something that, I mean, for people that don't know what I'm talking about, I didn't even know it existed. A friend of mine, Jason, started his channel called Popcorn Roulette,
Hmm.
right? And I didn't know any of this. Technically I'm a millennial, I think I scrape in, but I like to think of myself as Gen X. but I'm a real, in my heart, I'm a boomer. So like we go back and back more and more.
Right.
But I think that early 80s, I think unfortunately I'm still a millennial. But in saying that, I don't know, I'm not the tech savvy person. So I didn't realize people played the games, like the video games and stuff the way they do. And I didn't realize that people enjoyed watching people play, right? So I was
right.
just something that I was just not exposed to. So then when Jason was explaining these channels to me, and he was like, I'm going to do this channel and people are going to watch, movies they've never seen because the people that love those movies want to, and I get it in theory now. But at the time I didn't. They're like, they want to see somebody experience this movie that they love or that they hold so dear or whatever for the first time, because once you do it, you can't do it anymore. You can't experience that again,
That's it. You just nailed it on the head. I never thought about why I enjoy it so much and how I discovered you, but that's exactly it.
And I didn't realize it because at first, and that's why at first, like, in all honesty, I was like, no, I don't think that's for me, because as an actress, playing Coby is my least favorite role. So to say, hi guys, it's me again, that's very out of I've never wanted to be like a TV host, or, you know what I mean? It's not where I get as much joy as digging into some character and all of their complexities and building this person that is different to me, but similar in ways, and all of that fun stuff that comes with different roles, right?
Right.
So I was like, no, I don't think I want to do that. But I adore Jason and he's such a good friend of mine. I was like, okay, I'm going to give it a go. And I did it. And I started to understand why people enjoy it. And so I did films like Star Wars that I'd never seen.
Right.
And wow, a lot of people love those movies, So I've now been so lucky that I get to do it. I started my own little channel, Coby Show. And, I'd never seen A Few Good Men. So now I get to do a movie with Wolfgang. I mean,
That's right. You're seeing actors in their older movies that you're getting to work with now. That's great.
Yeah.
And I noticed, I love you knew, and your family knew Harry Dean Stanton. And I like watching when you react to films that he's in. It's very cool because I know you guys had a close connection.
Yeah, and I just love him. It's been so long now. I mean, Harry passed away. Oof, it's been years and years. But yeah, I finally watched, what did I watch on Monday? Just this week, Escape from New York.
Right, yeah. I watched that. I watched your reaction. It was great. I'd forgotten about how much I dug the campiness of that movie. It's so much fun. It's ridiculous.
It's just so crazy to me. And that's what's kind of fun in the sense that even with getting busy with other projects and stuff, there's always movies I can sit down and watch and put up there for people because there's so many. Like sometimes people will comment and be like, how are you 40 years old and you've never seen this movie?
Right.
But there are so many.
Or even to people, I'll go, how are you in your 50s and haven't seen this movie?
There's so many.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And I don't, I'm so lucky that there's been movies that slipped by me that I've gotten to see doing the reactions that have become some of my my favorite films ever. Like I'd never seen Leon the Professional. Oh my God.
Right. Yeah. Great film.
I love that movie.
Great film. Yeah, I find that fascinating though. You know what? I know for a fact that the most annoying thing for you has got to be, and I did it to you myself. I've done it maybe a couple times. Coby, how come you haven't watched this movie? And you go, dude, there's only so many hours in a day.
And that brings me to the point though too. I will never watch something on the channel that I've seen pretending I haven't. And that's what happens a little bit. You talk about how you and I know film and are so interested in different, whether it's elements of the story writing, all of it. So when I watch a film, I do guess things and often I'm correct. Often I'm wrong. Don't worry.
Right.
But often I'm correct. And people will say, oh, she's seen it. How did you know? And it's like, that's just from a storytelling point of view. That's a filmmaking act. You know what I mean? I know that's what he's going to say. I know that's what he's going to do.
Yeah.
But no, I'm not out there. I could not be bothered to watch something that I've seen pretending I haven't and trying to also on top of it all act like I'm surprised. Forget that.
And people get the idea that this film reaction thing, that it's people critiquing movies, and it really isn't.
No.
You'll goof on a couple of things like you during, the Escape from New York is such a campy movie that there were a couple of times where we went, oh, come on, I guess I'll suspend disbelief here. And it's not really a critique. It's just like you're looking into a time capsule, looking back in time and just commenting on that. I love that part of it.
Yeah, no, I think so too. And that's why even when people say, oh, when they call them their reviews, it's definitely not that. I have a friend that does reviews. And that's a different thing. I'm not trying to, I'll do a little wrap up and tell you my thoughts about the end of the movie, but it's definitely not a review. I'm not
Right.
here going, oh, this, in the third act, I really feel like there was a lull. I don't know. It's more of a
Right.
emotional, physical experience to the film and, how it makes you feel. And yeah.
Well, I'm gonna put, and I'll never do it again. I'm gonna put one last push in because you've done Schindler's List, I believe, and
No, I've never seen Schindler's List.
okay. So you did Saving Private Ryan.
Yes.
And there's a definite trilogy there. So Schindler's List is one that I would love to see you do, and then also Empire of the Sun. Those are the three Spielberg trilogy World War II films. 1941 was a comedy goofball thing that I don't really count that one, but so that's the last time though I'm going to tell you. Watch
No,
those
they
movies.
are Savage. They are on the list. So
Oh,
I'm gonna
good.
do
Yeah.
that.
That's
Yeah.
very
No,
cool.
I definitely want to, and that's right. Out of those three, Saving Private Ryan is the only one I did. So if anybody wants to watch me cry for 2 hours,
Yeah, go find that episode of the Coby Show.
that was a lot. Yeah. Well, that one was back on Jason's on Popcorn, but that movie was incredible.
Yeah, that's right. I did see you do that. You've been not just, I was grateful that you were able to find the time to come on my podcast today, but you've been doing quite a few. I think that you've been a guest in a few podcasts over the past year or so. Seems like you're in demand in that medium. You said something about your least favorite role is playing Coby Connell. Do you find talking about yourself is a strain, or are you kind of used to it now?
It's both. I'm used to it, but it's still they're like I have done them, but I do them for the people that I really like.
Thank you.
So
Right. I had a suspicion.
you included, but no, I do it because if I love you and I think no, I want to do that, of course. But no,
Yeah.
as a random request, I don't do that. I get those requests, and sometimes I will. I've done a couple for strangers, to talk about things. But generally, if it's somebody I know and they're like, "Please, will you do this?" I go, "Okay," because it is. Yeah, I mean, look, once it starts, it's easy, and I do think that it's fun too, and especially with somebody that you have a rapport with.
Yeah.
But it's funny, even as an actor, it's always like that little minute before you're like, ah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's funny because I've got, like I said, my friend Ann Archer is coming back on. She's been on before, but she's like, oh, Savage. Oh, and but she said the same thing you did. The minute she comes on the show, she's like, oh, I really enjoy this. And I go, I knew you would. I wouldn't ask you to do something that was like pulling teeth.
But it is enjoyable, especially when there's a friendship. So I wonder, I haven't really had the experience yet, and touch wood, maybe I don't have to, of an awkward one, of saying yes. The couple that I've done for people I didn't know well have gone very well, and they were great. So I wonder what that experience is like, where you're like, I gotta go. Like,
Yeah.
this is.
Yeah. We're Monkey Grip. We've already set it up to where we're going to be premiering at Cannes. That's our European premiere, and our big thing is we've been asked to. We haven't even shot a second of footage, and we've been asked to bring the movie to the Cannes film market, which means you will be doing junket stuff. And have you done much of that before, where you just sit on a chair and different entertainment reporters come in and you just answer the same question over and over again? Because that seems like it would be tiring.
It is tiring, but to be honest, there's also that's comfortable too. There's like because there's just a routine to it. So
Yeah.
no, that stuff I don't mind.
Well,
Take
that's
all the
good, yeah.
questions from Horse and Hound and whoever show up. So
Yeah, because there's nothing scripted involved. You're able to just be yourself. But it's just like whenever I'm interviewed for newspapers or for magazines, I always know they're going to get it wrong, always. So video makes it a little harder, and you can still cut things in a certain way. But man, I hate reading interviews that I do, because I never said
you're
anything.
misquoted. You're like, I didn't say that.
It's insane when that happens. So I don't know. I just want to
Don't worry, I won't say weird stuff at Con.
Good. That's what I was going to ask. So can I trust you to do that? Or
You can trust me. You can trust me. I'll be like, that's savage. My God.
Yeah. How much kind of, because Monkey Grip isn't really, it's an action film, but not really. It's more of a, I mean, it's more, I look at it as film noir. It's definitely a sort of dark detective kind of thing, but it's got a sort of I don't know, a country kind of vibe to it. It's definitely got that all-American 70s.
You said you were about to say a country vibe. I think you were about to say a comedy. I was like, oh my God, what are you talking about?
Yeah. It's got that
like,
that 70s drive-in movie vibe. That's
Yeah.
what I'm looking for. But have you done much in the way of like true action stuff where you've got combat fighting? Because Kelly is more of a femme fatale. You're kind of an athletic girl, so you could get out there and throw punches and stuff if you had to. But I like your subtleties, the way you've been reading the character, and you understand that it is definitely. If I shot the movie in black and white and set it in New Orleans in the 1940s, your character would still come off. So, but have you done a lot of action stuff?
Yeah, and so but to quickly to your point with the character, and that's a testament to your writing too, is that yes, it is an action film, it has a lot of that, but that's what I love so much about Kelly, is that she is this femme fatale, but it's not this two-dimensional femme fatale. So without giving story away and stuff, what I enjoy is that there are all these complexities. It's not just the villain or the baddie,
right,
the
right.
hero, or so for me, there's more is revealed as you watch, and there's things that are going on that you don't even know about, and that's fun as an actor to be able to like chew into all of that rather than it just be just a femme fatale,
And it is a challenge, or it will be a challenge for you when we're actually laying stuff out in the lens. She's a character that starts off kind of feeling one-dimensional. Oh, here's your typical
But that's
gangster.
what's fun, and then you discover,
all of a sudden she becomes this. What the hell's going on with this woman? Yeah, I am. So,
but yeah, the action stuff. I have been tied to ropes and thrown across forests and exploded and had gunfights, and I did taekwondo for years and years and years as a child. So yes, I can throw a punch and I can get blown up and I'm a really good shot. So
that's good. Cool.
not that we're actually shooting anything, but
right. You're known as an actress and YouTube personality and all that blah blah blah, but you've also done some producing, and you have plans to direct, if I'm not mistaken. And let's face it, you are producing content for your YouTube channel. There is an element of producing a program there. It may seem to people it's just somebody setting a camera down, but there's some work that goes into your to the Coby Show. Do you feel there's a future for you behind the camera as well as in front? And is that something? I'm just curious as to your thinking in that direction, because when we talk about the script, your insights are not just as an actress, but your insights come off as definitely someone who could direct pretty easily, and writing as well. I don't know if that's something you look forward to doing a lot more of, but are there stories you feel you need to get out there as a writer too?
yeah. So I mean, thank you. It's nice to hear that when someone says "bless you, Cash." He's just sneezing and to say, oh, your insights feel like they have more depth and that kind of feel. It's great. I do write. I have about 6 half finished things that I alternate between, and I love so acting is my number one passion, right? But then I love, because I'm a little bit of a control freak,
Right.
and OCD, like the directing, I know, you know what I mean? I do think that I enjoy that too. The only thing I've sort of, in a sense, working on right now as director and producer is the documentary that I'm making, which I'm editing right now. But yeah, no, I think that in terms of in the future, yeah, I do. And I've also written this other thing that I want to sort of, I'm just torn between that. I've never directed myself, you know what I mean? So I'd love to be like Clint Eastwood with that, but I want to sort of test it out, finish one of these projects that I've been working on for years, get that, get a script I'm happy with, and then direct. Yeah, I don't know, because if it's something I've written, and that's where you would have a better insight into that. When you write it, how hard is it to let someone, you don't want someone else to direct it.
I've had my screenplays directed by other people before. I've just sold the screenplays outright. It doesn't.
How does that feel?
I don't watch them,
Yeah.
I've never really watched one. I've sold 3 screenplays that became a film. One of the hardest things for me is I did a revision of a stage play that had been around. It's California's official state play. It's been around for 101 years now, but it was getting dull. It was a 1920s melodrama playing out in this beautiful 6,000-seat outdoor amphitheater with real horses. And anyway, the board of directors of that brought me in to rewrite. They said, yeah, we just need you to tweak this a little bit for a new audience moving into the new millennium. And I went, no, I'm not interested in that. If you let me go back to the novel it's based on and start from scratch, I'd do that. And they agreed. And then I thought, oh, this is a piece of cake. And I wrote it, sent it to them, waiting for notes. I always wait for notes from a client. And, it's a commission and no notes. They said, this is perfect. We're going to do this. I went, what the hell? That told me 2 things. One, I'm either I'm an amazing writer more than, or they just don't know how to read a screenplay, and it looks good.
Perfect. Not one note. We love it.
That was
great.
Yeah,
great.
I'm not a genius writer, so it definitely was the latter.
You are.
But yeah. Thank you. So anyway, I the first year I went to see the play, it was really hard for me to do that. Luckily, the director, I couldn't direct a big stage play like that, 300 in the cast. And
that's a different thing, yeah.
It's like an epic. I just turned it into a John Ford Western from the 1940s.
Nice.
and it worked out fine. But I haven't been back to see it since that first year, and they're going into the 11th year, I think, or 12th year next
spring. Goodness.
Yeah, so I've just never been back to see it because it is I can watch my movies, but I have to give it some time. After editing and then after the premieres and film festivals, then I have to walk away from it because I hate everything because I think that's wrong. But then
that's what I mean. That's just got to be you have to really sort of, if you sell a screenplay like that,
those are even movies that I've directed I don't like looking at, so let alone just giving my work over. Luckily for me, one of those movies was a horror film I'd never written, and I haven't since written horror, and they were specific. The producer said, we want this much blood, this much head chopping off. And I went, okay. And that's when I just looked at it as a job. And it's a decent little movie. And I didn't see it for, 10 years after it came out. I saw that it was on some streaming platform and I watched it. And it was awful, but that's just, I'm not into the genre. But apparently a lot of people are. I don't know. I digress. But
a lot of people are. I mean, that's why that whole sort of cliche exists, right? Like, I mean, the fact that you start in horror and then a lot of people stay there, and there's just such an audience that isn't, because out of all of the streaming platforms we have, Shudder is a horror one. Like, it's the only genre that has its own streamer,
horror Netflix.
And they just love it. I'm excited to see this. I just played Dracula in a horror film.
Oh, really?
Devour. So much blood in my mouth. So much blood in my mouth. And I think they just said that they're doing the premiere of it like next month. So maybe now I can. I had to wait to post anything, but I think now I can post some pictures.
Oh, that's cool.
It was a lot of fun. But yeah, mouth blood. But now it comes mint flavored, So
the blood in your mouth actually has a decent taste.
Yeah. The special effects people out there will know what I'm talking about. There's the mint flavored mouth blood.
That's nuts.
So much fun. Just tricks of the trade.
Was the TV show that you were in Australia? If I read about it, and it was a big show, but I couldn't quite. Is it straight comedy? Is it subtle? What was it?
I was only a very small part, but it was our biggest. Even though Home and Away and Neighbours are the ones that have been running the longest and are the most famous in Australia, where people are like, oh, Margot Robbie was on Neighbours and Chris Hemsworth was on Home and Away. Packed to the Rafters had a shorter lifespan, but it did bigger numbers. So it was the biggest show that Australia had. I believe. I could be totally butchering that and misquoting it, but it was like it's a really hard thing to define, actually, because you guys don't have, and as you guys, I mean, Americans, like that same soapy, what it is something that I think that we don't really make here in America, because it's not a sitcom and it's not a soap. Like, so the Days of Our Lives thing is not what it was, but it's definitely
Right.
not a sitcom. So it's kind of like Australia makes like these sort of family kind of shows that are a little bit of a soap sitcom hybrid, I
Right.
guess.
Right. I was talking to somebody you have seen a big scene with in Monkey Grip. My friend Emerus Cooper, great actor, and he's on a show in the UK now called Coronation Street. It's been like that
Oh
on.
yeah.
It's been on for decades, and he's this young guy who's come in, and he's like, it's what did he say? It's like here in the States we have high school reunions. It's like going to someone else's high school reunion and
Well,
ask.
he's my age. He's like
Yeah.
so that show's been on before. I'm sure that was going before we were born. Like
Yes, yeah. That's what he said, though. It's like someone else's high school reunion that you've been asked to give a speech at. He's saying,
Coronation Street has been going since 1960.
wow, isn't that amazing? But,
Isn't that insane?
but Emerus doesn't. He's like you. He doesn't just put in his time. He doesn't just goof on it. He understands it's a serious job and it has a fan base that.
It is.
And
And that exactly the fan base of that, the stuff like those Coronation Street. What was the other one? EastEnders. There's
Yeah,
a few that
EastEnders, and there was one called. When I lived there, I liked a show called The Bill, which was a cop show.
I remember the bill.
Yeah, and it was like when I was living in Wales, there was only two channels. One was all-day snooker tournaments, and the
Yeah.
other one was
Yeah.
a BBC outlet that played the bill. So I just got into that show, and I think
We got the bill all the time because being Australian,
Yeah.
we're still part of,
Right.
we're in the British monarchy. So like all of our stuff, our money is still has the Queen on it and everything. You know what I mean? So
Right.
we got all of the British stuff. We didn't get as much of the American stuff until like cable came around. But
Mm-hmm.
the bill was on every night. Of course, the bill. That just takes me back, Steve. And I haven't thought about that in forever.
I used to because I'd be. I was in a band, and we had two bandmates who were Irish. They wanted to be closer to Dublin, and then one of the guys lived in London, so everybody just kind of relocated to Wales, to this little town just north of Cardiff called Irwood, and it was a 17th century fishing lodge that had been converted, and it was run down. That's why we got it so cheap. And the band, with two of our roadies, just stationed ourselves there. But at Christmas, I'd be all alone. I was I was there in this creepy house all by myself. So the TV was on until it went off at midnight. And, but the bill was like I'd get ensconced in that, and I'm grateful for that show because there wasn't much else.
Too funny.
Yeah, and there were cartoons during the day which were all in Welsh. So I was trying to learn the language, but to watch cartoons in a different language, it's a good way to learn that language. I don't know why, but I started picking up a lot of Welsh just from watching Will Quack Quack. That's what.
Will Quack, what is that? I've never even heard of
Yeah, it was a
that.
cartoon called Will Quack Quack, and it was all in Welsh, and it was an absolute children's cartoon. That's what it was for, and I used it to learn English or to learn Welsh, but it's crazy stuff. I don't know how I got off on that, but yeah, Emerus and you have both experienced doing TV shows, doing television in your respective countries, even though LA is really your home. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. I just know that your experiences on, both sides of the Pacific, and now you're on the East Coast a lot, and you're getting a good round entertainment world experience in the States. So good for you.
Thank you. No, I do. It's been an absolute blast of a ride. It's been fun. It's been slow burn, but all good things, So
I have so
but
many.
no, I do.
I have so
Huh?
many things to ask you, but I'm conscious of the time. But my thing is, I start when I'm thinking about the next question, I start getting Kamala Harris word salady, and so I hope you got something out of that last question. But yeah,
I did. I absolutely did.
but yeah,
I am excited for the scenes with Emerus. I'm excited for all of them. I mean,
yeah, he's really fun. He's just good at what he does, and he's like, the guy is always in like not just good shape. I mean, that guy's ripped, but he's also got an intellectual mind that when I cast him as this biker guy, I went, I'll bet you he's going to love this because he'll get to play a complete just greaseball, and the first minute he read it, he said, "Oh man, I can't wait to play."
So
this.
he's not a Danny type on court. He's like a straight Sooty something else on. What is he?
Yeah. He's a Sooty kind of guy. He's very, he's just one of those actors that he's like a very, very young version of Sir, what's his name that plays Gandalf, or the guy from Star Trek.
Gandalf is Ben Kingsley.
Yeah, no.
I was thinking of Gandhi. Gandalf is isn't it Ian McKellen? No, it's not Ian McKellen.
There you go. Thank you. So that's
I've never seen Lord of the Rings.
Oh, okay. I'm not even going to talk about that.
You said Gandalf, and I heard Gandhi, and I went Ben Kingsley.
No, he's not. Aramis is not quite. He's not quite Gandhi, but he's got that. He's a very young version of those type of classic actors that. That's him. He's got that classic old school kind of vibe about him, and he's always in the proper tweed suit and everything. But throw a leather jacket on him, and the guy's a complete rock star. Speaking of rock stars, we're talking about our next movie together, which we can't talk about, but we have one lined up where you and I are going to work again, and another one, which is a lot of fun.
Very
that script.
excited. I don't know what I can say and what I can't say, so I'll let you take the lead.
Yeah, it's just we probably can't say anything, but that's okay. It's going to be fun. But I started a movie just before COVID. So the end of 2019, I went to the UK and we shot a lot of the first act and all the opening credit sequences. And then the story continues on in the States. But before we got to the States, everything was shut down due to COVID. And the movie, it is on IMDb as a finished film, but it's not, because when we switched from in pre-production on IMDb to in production, they put it up as if it was a finished film, which I don't understand, but it's still sitting there. It's called Ulysses Coyote, and it's got a listing like it's like it's a 2020 film, and it's not done. And to me, that's just like unfinished business. But the people moved on. The investors moved away and are moved away from the project because of COVID. They had no idea how long it was going to last. So
this is the one when we were talking about guitar playing, right? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Exactly,
okay.
yeah. I've seen pictures of you in a band type of situation where you're playing, you're like the lead singer and guitar player of this band. And I went, wow, this is insane. Coby and I are just going to, she's my Uma Thurman now. And
we're so entwined in everything. You're like, oh, that's perfect for that.
I know. So I was talking to another actress friend of mine, another Australian who's based in LA now, Emily Coop. She's done some really cool stuff, and she's a guitarist and a bass player and all that. And so I was thinking, if I get this movie off the ground again and finish it under the same title, which is going to be weird, but I don't care. It'll be like a remake of a movie that was never finished. But I was talking.
Take it down from there, no? Or no?
I don't know. It's really difficult to take a movie down, but once we get going into the process, I probably will. Right now, I can't be bothered, but
no.
Yeah. But anyway, Emily and I were talking about the music industry in Australia, and I may just, when I redo it, I may shoot it in the Sydney area, the first act.
Oh my God!
And then move it to the States, because the only problem is there is a British history background to it that the main character goes through, and she's attached to the classic rock history, her family and all that. So that would have to be changed a little. But the fact,
Australia, and then the history could be with my dad's band.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. So anyway, I'm kind of thinking about that, but I thought I would also this is weird, but I'm going to, if I get this off the ground, I'm going to start a band that's actually the band in the movie. So that would be interesting.
Like Spinal Tap.
Like Spinal Tap, only more serious about the music, but to actually have like a 4-piece band of 2 Australian girls and 2 a Black British drummer, because that's how it's written, and I have the perfect actor for that, and then
this sounds so much fun.
Yeah, it's this 3-piece band that's just, they can't make it in Australia, so they moved to the States for various reasons, and it's a buddy picture, and I think it'd be, plus it's got a Native American element to it and everything. So anyway, we'll talk about that further.
I love it. That's very exciting.
but Back to future plans. Where do you see yourself in 10 years or so? I like asking people this question. Again, acting, maybe writing, directing, or even fronting a rock band.
It's such a tough one because that question for a lot of people is, I think, easier when people are a little bit more planned, or I don't know. So for me, with my lack of concept of time and my lack of liking to stay in one place, that's a tough one. All I know is that in 10 years, things that I definitely want to finish, like next year, I want to have my documentary out about the trip I did with my parents and have that all out. I want to have done that. I want it sounds cheesy, but it's like that John Lennon thing, or, where it's like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And he said happy, and the teacher said, you don't understand the question. And he said, you don't understand life, and,
right. Yeah.
Whether that's real or not, it's something that got passed around the internet.
It's a good story, Annie. It's a good story.
But it's that, and at the risk of sounding corny, I just want to be. I want to be healthy, and I want to be able to. I've been, as an actor, you learn to live with nothing, and so like when things go well, it's great when you start to have some success. But because I'm also, I've had so much experience having such a struggle, you get good at it. Yeah. So the reason why I want to keep working and earning, and why it's so fun right now, is because I get to do things for my family and things that I love. Like I'm flying my mom and stepdad out to have Christmas in New York, and it's gonna be things like that. I just want to be able to keep being creative. Have a Cash is gonna be in 10 years. Cash is gonna be 18. So. Man, that's what I want. In 10 years, I want Cash to be 18 and just be still doing this with cool people like yourself, making art, having fun, and just telling different stories. It's all I've ever sort of wanted to do. So,
that's great. That's a great answer. I like it. Well, that's going to wrap it up for this episode of the Stephen Savage Show. Before we let you go, Coby, tell us how one can find out more about you and what you're up to. Do you have a website, or is IMDb the best place to see what you're up to, or is YouTube the thing that you'd like to push most?
Yeah, I guess YouTube is where the reactions are. Otherwise, the rest of my life is sort of on Instagram. So Instagram is just Coby Connell, and YouTube is Coby Show. So even though it's the Coby Show was taken. So it's just at Coby Show. But a lot of people say they type it in and the Cosby Show comes up. So we just I'm going to stick it out and keep growing.
Yeah, of course.
I overtake the Cosby Show search answers, but yeah, they're the best places: Instagram and YouTube, and that was just thank you, Stephen, for having me on. You've been such a blessing, and it's been so much fun, getting to know you and getting geared up to do this, do a couple of really, really fun things. I
agree. Thank you so much. And there you go. Another episode of the Stephen Savage Show is in the can, as they say. I want to thank everyone for listening in and for spreading the word about the show, which has been vital to increasing our listenership on a daily basis on every platform, taking us up into the thousands of downloads every week worldwide. And we at the Savage Podcasting Network truly appreciate it. And of course, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, blah, 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 and basically wherever you find your favorite podcasts. So for my sidekick, Nicole Houston, Nicole Hughes, I've got two producers. I've got Trinity Houston and Nicole Hughes. So for this show and for my movie-making ventures, my sidekick and producer is Nicole Hughes, who Coby knows well, and
hence the woo.
My engineer Maurice Sudo, the entire Savage Podcasting Network team, as well as for Coby Connell and myself. Thank you for listening, and we will see you next time. Thanks so much, Coby.
Thank you.